Okay, we're going to try this again. This is Sarah Gaston with another Facebook Live. So I occasionally forget to turn on my Do Not Disturb, and so I got a phone call in the middle of my broadcast, and anyway, it made everything go away. So anyway, hello. Welcome back. Anyway, I appreciate you guys accommodating my time change. I'm so sorry. It's just for this week only that I had to change it to 11:30, but I had something to do at 1 that I simply could not rearrange. Anyway, so I have hello, Christina. Nice to see you. I have a couple of things I want to talk about, but of course, I'm always here to answer your questions live. So feel free to drop your questions in the comment section, and I'll keep checking on them, and I will try to answer them in the order in which they come in. So the first question that came in this week was basically the Cliff's Notes version of it is this. If you want to change your look for your headshots, if you just want to change your look, do you need to get your agent's permission first? Hello, Joseph Jones. Thank you so much for joining. Joe and I were just talking about you in a good way. Anyway, and my response to this particular student was, you know what, it's your body. Do what you want. If you want to grow out your hair, if you want to get your hair cut or whatever, do what you want. And here's why I say that. Yes, your agent is your partner in getting you seen by casting directors. But if you feel like a particular look isn't working and you want to try something new, that is your prerogative, because at the end of the day, it's your career and it's your body. Now, just know that when you change your look, the things that you get considered for may change as well. So in particular, this student was going from sort of a clean cut look that he had always had, or has had for quite a while, to what he called COVID hair, right? So his hair grew out, and he liked it, and he thought, this is a new kind of look. It's kind of a hippie look. It's kind of an English professor look, and so he just thought, that was maybe a new look that he wanted to try out. He didn't feel like his clean cut look was getting him any particular, work. So I've known that. I have another friend who he grew out a beard for some reason, and then he started getting all these hipster commercials, being like hipster guy with a beard, so he started to book more commercial work, right? So sometimes changing your look is something that works in your favor. But at the end of the day, yes, your agent is your partner, and you can certainly check in with them and get their feedback and see what's trending right now. Is there a particular look that they're seeing a big call for? And if you want to accommodate yourself to that look, feel free. At one point when I had long hair, I was told to cut off my hair so that I would look more like a soccer mom. And I was like, in a million years, I don't think I'm going to look as much like a soccer mom as the next woman, especially if she's petite and blonde. So like, why am I trying to cookie cutter myself into that look? I didn't think that was particularly helpful advice, and that wasn't something I particularly wanted to do at that time, so I kept my long hair, and I got an agent who liked it. So anyway, that's a long answer to, if I want to change my look and get new headshots, should I check in with my agent first? You can, and also it's your body. Okay, so anyway, that is item number 1, and as always, feel free to drop your questions into the comment section. Of course, when I'm arbitrarily British, especially if it's kind of a pool version of a British accent, then I get tongue-tied. Anyway, so next topic. I want to talk about pauses in scene work, okay? This is something that came up last night, and it kind of prompted a really interesting discussion. Hello, Robert Mungle. Nice to see you. When you see pause written in a script, I think there is a tendency sometimes, especially if we're kind of a rule follower, to look at that pause and say, okay, I'm going to pause 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then keep talking. But whenever there is a stage direction in the script, it indicates that something is happening with the character, right? And so one of the things we talked about in class last night is that when a pause is indicated, it is typically there because the character is taking their time to think about something. And we want, especially for film, right? We want to see a thought process happening there. We want to know why they pause, because generally when we pause, it's because we're trying to think of the next thing that we're going to say, whether we want to say it, if we should bring it up, if we should change the topic. I mean, you fill in the blank. So I urge you, when you see that in a script, look at what could be happening there with the character that the writer felt that there was a need to put a pause in there. Trust me, it's just never arbitrary. And somebody said that they had a teacher who said, ignore the punctuation, ignore the pauses, keep going. And here's the thing. You have to know the rules in order to make the rules, right? If you have never picked up a paintbrush before and you draw a black square on a canvas, nobody's going to pay attention to you. But if you're Rothko, all of a sudden, you're a fine artist, right? Because if you've had the training and you've had the background and you've developed the skill set, and then you make a conscious decision to do something from a place of mastery, then you are eligible to sort of arbitrarily break the rules, right? But to just ignore the rules, punctuation, one of the things we talked about last night is that punctuation in our language, in the written language, is to give us context for what's being said. I mean, think about, and I think it is it T.S. Eliot, who there's one very famous writer who writes without punctuation, or had written it without punctuation in certain works. If there's no punctuation, we lose meaning and we lose context. So why would we ignore punctuation when it's in a script, right? So pay attention to the punctuation, pay attention to the pauses, and see what the writer is trying to tell us about the character by putting that in there. Now, here's the difference. What we don't want to do is say a line, pause, say a line, pause, say a line, pause. And I think that's probably what that other acting teacher was being wary of. Hello, Carlos. Hello, Robin. Nice to see you. Nice to see you both. Okay, I see that there is a question in the comments, so I'm going to take a look at it. A scout in LA said agencies are really looking for those with red hair right now. Wow. Hello, I'm your girl. Anyway, yeah, so I guess go dye your hair. Anyway, so that is very funny, because when I have been in LA, there were a lot of calls for people with red hair. So anyway, good to know. All right, so that's the thing about pauses. The other thing that I want to talk about today is discoveries, because again, this was a topic in class last night. So right now in my Tuesday night ongoing class, we're working our way through Michael Shurtleff's guideposts from his book Audition. And we talked about the guidepost of discoveries. And discoveries are basically like listening as if you are hearing the dialogue for the first time. Being an actor is a weird thing, because we have to memorize this dialogue, and we have to dissect the story, and we have to understand the story, and we have to understand what's happening. And also, every time we go through the scene, we have to hear it for the very first time. So you have to develop sort of a muscle memory to remember your content, and you also have to develop sort of short-term memory loss in order to actually really listen and let it land. Because what happens is, when we don't listen as if for the first time, every time, we lose any sort of magic or spontaneity that comes with hearing something for the first time and having an organic and genuine reaction. And so what will happen sometimes, this didn't happen in class last night, so don't you guys worry, but what will happen sometimes is I'll be working with an actor, and I'll say something like, yeah, and then there was the time that I ran over your dog, and they're like, yeah, that made me really mad, or something like that. I know that's a gross and arbitrary, example, but, it's like they're not even letting that register as if, but you would, if you have a pet and somebody hurt it, much less killed it, even if it was in the past, you would have a reaction to it, right? Because it still mattered to you, right? It would still matter, I mean, I'm still sad about my first bunny rascal that I got for Easter when I was 3 from the Easter bunny that he's passed, you know? So really, we have to always be listening as if we're hearing our lines for the first time. And that's how we make discoveries. And the beautiful thing is, and I notice this a lot, if I'm working on a script for a long time and I record all of the lines that I have, and when I record scripts to learn them, I record all the lines, so my lines and everybody else's lines in the scenes. And sometimes even just by listening to the dialogue over and over, I'll make a discovery, and I'll be like, oh, okay, that's what's happening here, right? And so that's the opportunity we have to make constant discovery when we go through the scene each and every time, as if we're hearing these words for the first time. Okay, so yes, and there's more to discoveries than that, but I just wanted to kind of touch on that today. And you know, Shurtleff talks about it in his in the guidepost pretty succinctly, and he says if you're not making discoveries, you'll miss the events, and the events are always those things that are occurring in the scene that change things, and they're often unsaid. And so we always have to have our antenna up for the things that are being said and the things that are being unsaid, right? So there's a lot happening in our scene work. Anyway, if there are no more questions, I will not keep you. As I say every week, I believe that time is our most valuable and non-renewable resource, so I do not want to take up yours. And as my mother used to say, I don't like to talk just to hear myself talk. Well, she used to tell me not to talk just to hear myself talk, so I'm very aware of not doing that. So just a couple of things. I hope you are subscribing to my YouTube channel, because if not, that's just a sad thing, because I provide a new video with tips and tricks on the business and art of acting every single week. And if you want to subscribe to my email list, you can do so on my website, sarahgaston.com. And if you subscribe to my email list, you're going to just get some support and get some things that I don't share anywhere else. And you'll be able to find out about, you know, many of my classes or any workshops that I offer. And let's see. Oh, if you want to learn how to cry on cue, I have an online tutorial for that. And also I have an online course now called the Ultimate Script Analysis Course for Actors, everything you wanted to know about acting from A to Z. And basically it is kind of 2 years of conservatory type training crushed into like a 10-module course, because I have found that people do not have access to in-depth script analysis outside of that, like either a conservatory or a drama program education. And so I was trying to figure out a way to sort of compress that into something that was sort of manageable and affordable for folks. So I've put that together, and I'm very, very proud of that. That's been like 2 years in the making. And it really will, if you employ all the items that are included in the course, it really will allow you to tackle any audition or to walk on any set with complete confidence, because you will understand absolutely everything that's going on in your scene work and in the script as a whole. So anyway, that's all I've got today. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Stay safe, be kind, be kind. We're all stressed out right now, and let's just try to give each other a little grace. It's a wacky, wacky world we live in, so let's do our best to keep our head up and keep focusing on this craft that we love so much. I love you so much. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.